seems like this culture of shutting people out of the conversation so that they just go away has the same effect that repressing a memory does, which is you think that it's gone, you think it's going away, but really it's just like fomenting underneath the surface, pissed off, angry, and more scheming and trying to get back in, and more dangerous than it was in the first place. Do you see it unfolding like that? How do you feel about these cancellations that are occurring? Do they work? Don't they work?
Yeah, I don't think you can cancel ideas. I think you can get rid of people, but I think like if the underlying conditions that made that person popular are still there, you're probably still going to have that like strain of thought. You have to be able to figure out like why. Like Andrew Tate is kind of a deplorable guy, in my opinion. But if a lot of people are looking to him as a role model, you need to figure out why. What's going on? Something is broken in your system if you can't get people to follow you over a guy like that. Something is going on there. And then the cancellation.
What do you think is going on there, by the way? Because I'm curious if you have a theory on that.
Yeah, I think people on the left are they do a really bad job at attacking majority groups and just making them feel like shit over and over and over again. You know, fuck men, all men are rapists. White people, whites, we need the white genocide. We need the Mayo side. We need to, champion minorities, and everything is about slavery and everything is about white people are horrible, blah, 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 blah. Like, if you repeat this type of rhetoric over and over again, at some point, white people and men, they're not gods. They're going to start to feel pretty shitty. Like, okay, well, if you're just going to, chastise us and castigate us and, demonize us constantly, well, we're going to listen to somebody that doesn't. And I think that's kind of what happened. I think the left felt like they didn't need to provide good role models or good leadership for majority groups. So they started to look towards other people that tend to be on the right. Yeah.
It seems like also with Andrew Tate, one of the things that pisses me off is like Andrew Tate, who got famous for his misogyny. Like, I think what Andrew Tate got famous for is that people are not teaching young men how to relate to girls in a way that they're satisfied with. And even though it's some of the stuff I certainly disagree with, I mean, I relate to this as when I was growing up. Like, I did not know how to get women to be attracted to me. And then I encountered, the early underpinnings of Red Pill, which was the game or whatever. And you get this line, and I will not forget the first time that I was in a bar, we were 20 years old in London, didn't know what to say, used a line from the game, and we got smiles. And I was like, holy shit, this is it. This is the truth in the Bible. And I was willing for a period, though I think I quickly corrected it, to accept much more wholesale whatever it said because it had busted open my worldview and provided me something that worked. And I feel like that might be going on with Andrew Tate as well, where he tells you some of the things you could do with girls, ways to be confident, whatever. One of those works with a girl in your class or your school or your workplace or whatever. And you're way willing to go, well, fuck, nobody taught me this for the last 18 years. I'm going to let all of this in because you guys didn't give me this. You guys gave me, when I grew up, it was Can't Hardly Wait, where what you had to do was write a note about the girl that you love, let her find it. She would discover that you'd been stalking her for 4 years and fall deeply in love with you. It was just like, do you remember that movie or any of those like that? Like,
nope.
There were these tropes in these movies where what the Jennifer Love Hewitt loved was the creepy guy who stalked her and had like a diorama and pictures of her that she would uncover at the end of the second act, the beginning of the third act.
Oh, sure.
I mean, I've seen like
that
he was stalking her.
Right?
Yeah. Realized that he was stalking her, and that was love.
Like I wrote one letter a day for a whole year. Bro,
get over it. That it's not the advice that young men are getting, the way that they're learning to relate to, for a lot of them is just not working. And that's where I see Andrew Tate having a real foothold, is that his stuff works for men in a way that what they're getting isn't.
Yeah, I think that that's a subsection of a larger thing, which is a refusal to acknowledge reality sometimes. Like, people on the right will say things like, men and women are different. And people on the left are like, no, they're exactly the same. And it's like, we all have similar experiences with moms and dads. We all have similar experiences with brothers and sisters. And we all can very clearly see at a very early age that boys and girls and young women and young men and women seem to function pretty differently. And I think a lot of people on the left are so obsessed with like the systemic analyses and they're trying to not come off as like, trying to be very woke, not coming off as racist, not coming off as sex, whatever. They don't want to acknowledge any difference in anything ever. And when people on the right are willing to make that acknowledgement, yeah, I think similar to how somebody gives you a piece of advice you've never heard before that works, when somebody makes an analysis of the world that is true and someone else seems to be delusional, you're like, okay, well, if you're going to say this crazy stuff, I'm not going to listen to you at all because you don't seem like you want to acknowledge reality, Yeah.